Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie and this is the Adventures of Mally. On our channel, we love sharing all of our adventures with you, from up north with my husband Matt, to all of our adventures around Wisconsin and our love and expertise of all things Disney. So if that interests you, hit that subscribe button down below and come along on this adventure with me. So in today's vlog, I'm doing a Disney planning vlog. I am comparing renting a car at Disney versus utilizing the Disney transportation. What are the pros and cons? What's right for your family? And then I'll give you my opinion on what I prefer to do. So to start off this vlog, I'm just gonna talk about the basics of the Disney transportation and what's available. I'm not really gonna go into a lot of the details, but that's how I'm gonna start it off, just telling you what's available. But first, I want to show you the cute little Disney bus figurines that I have. Oh, aren't they just super cute? So there's like the regular Disney bus, cute. I even have like a Disney Cruise Line one. And then I even have a Disney's Magical Express. Cute, I wanted to show those real quick. Basics, what's available on Disney property for your transportation options. Number one, buses. Most common, buses. Disney actually has a very excellent internal bus system, so if you are staying on Disney property, you can utilize any bus from your resort to any park, any water park, Disney Springs. So that's the number one form of transportation, is their internal bus system. Disney also has their own bus getting from the airport to Disney property. They call it the Magical Express. It's all free of charge. Now, when I say free of charge, let's be honest, Disney probably marks up their resort prices to be able to pay for this bus service. But I will tell you, you don't have to pay an extra fee on top of what you already paid for your Disney hotel, including Magical Express, which is the bus system from the airport to Disney property. All free of charge. Also with Magical Express, they transport all your luggage, so you don't have to like go get your luggage, give it to the bus driver, go, like it all is transferred for you. So, buses. The second form is the monorail. Now, monorail doesn't go all over Disney property. Monorail only really goes to the resorts that are around the Magic Kingdom. Monorail goes to the Ticket and Transportation Center, which is kind of like obviously the central hub for transportation, and then the monorail goes to Epcot. So obviously, if you aren't staying at what we call a monorail resort, you're probably not going to utilize the monorail, but I wanted to mention it here because it is a form of transportation. Next form of transportation is the Skyliner. This is the most recent form of transportation. I have not ridden it yet because when we were there last October, it was not open yet. This also goes to certain resorts as well as Disney's Hollywood Studios and Epcot. I think this was Disney's way of trying to mitigate some of the increased transportation needs that they have. The buses can get really crowded. It's probably really expensive to build more monorails, so I believe that Disney utilized the Skyliner and came up with the Skyliner as a way to kind of mitigate that increased capacity issues that they have. The Skyliner also goes to a bunch of resorts, and I can't remember off the top of my head what resorts they go to, but I'll post a link down below. I believe it's Caribbean Beach Resort, the new Riviera Resort, Art of Animation, and Pop Century. I believe that's what it is. So if it's wrong, I'll post it down below what it is. But off the top of my head, those are the resorts that I believe they go to. The next form of transportation Disney has is boats. There's lots of boats. They're not the fastest form of transportation, but you have boats going from the Ticket and Transportation Center, the monorail resorts over to Magic Kingdom. You have boats going from Epcot to Hollywood Studios because those two parks are really close to each other, so there's boats that go there. You have boats that go from like Old Key West, Saratoga Springs to Disney Springs. Those are pretty much all the boat options that you have. So boats. Oh, and Wilderness Lodge has a boat that goes from Wilderness Lodge over to Magic Kingdom because the Wilderness Lodge is not on the monorail. It uses a boat. So boats. Next is minivan. Again, this is, I'm gonna say it's fairly new. Minivan is operated by Lyft. So if you're familiar with that ride sharing service app, it is like a Lyft service. But they call them minivans. They're really cute. They're kind of decorated, all kind of the mini style and things like that. It's basically a private car service. And then the last I'm going to just briefly mention is Uber Lyft. With the increase of Uber and Lyft in our culture, Disney World also has Uber and Lyft, and sometimes that can be a really great way to get around, especially like if you have an early morning character breakfast and you don't want to use the buses or anything like that. So there's pros and cons to Uber and Lyft. One day, I think I want to like give myself a challenge and do a Disney trip all utilizing Uber and Lyft just to see if I saved money or time and see how it was. So maybe one day I'll do that and I'll put it in a vlog, because I think a lot of people would be kind of interested, like, would you save money or time, or would it be really easy just to use Uber and Lyft your whole entire trip? I'm not sure. So now I'm going to get into the versus part of this vlog, Disney transportation versus renting a car. So, when should you utilize Disney transportation? The number one reason that you should utilize Disney transportation is if you want to save money. If you're really on a budget and you're really trying to keep those costs down, utilizing the Disney transportation probably is the number one way to go. Even though you might pay an increased cost at the resorts versus staying off property, it still might be the way to go. You kind of have to look at it, because sometimes you can get really good deals at the resorts, and even the value resorts are sometimes very inexpensive compared to staying off property sometimes. You just kind of have to look at it. But if you want to save money and you really want to stay on property, utilizing Disney transportation. One thing that I wanted to mention, that if you have your own car, you actually do have to pay parking. So you pay $25 a day at the parks for parking your car, or if you're staying in a Disney resort, you pay parking per night for your Disney resort. It's $13 a night for a value resort, $19 a night for a moderate resort, and $24 a night for a deluxe resort. You don't pay both of them, so if you already pay for the parking because you're staying on property at a resort, you don't pay the $25 at the park. But if you're staying off property and you're renting a car, keep in mind that you're gonna pay that $25 a day for the park. So you have to think of that on top of your cost that you already pay for renting the car. Then you gotta always think of gas too. Granted, we actually don't use a ton of gas when we're there, but it is kind of something to think about. So you have to do the math yourself, and I have found that utilizing the Disney transportation, if I'm staying on property, really does save money. The next thing that you would utilize the Disney transportation for is if you really want to save the money and you really don't mind waiting. That's one thing that you have to keep in mind, is that you are at the mercy of the bus schedule, the monorail schedule, the boat schedule, and sometimes you can kind of wait. You have to be able to be flexible with waiting. Sometimes you have long lines, sometimes you might miss a bus if you get to the bus stop and you just missed one. You have to manage your time fairly well. So if you don't mind that and saving the money is worth it to you, awesome. I think utilizing Disney transportation is going to work out fantastic for you. One other thing with utilizing Disney transportation, if you plan on spending most of your time at the parks, you're not going to go off property. You're not going to resort hop. You're not going to go to a character breakfast early in the morning thing. You're not gonna go to the beach or Universal or anything like that. You're only going to park. Then I suggest not renting a car and just utilizing Disney transportation. You don't really need the car. It's gonna save you money, and you'll find that if you do rent a car and you end up just going to the parks all the time, your car is just gonna end up sitting in the parking lot, and then you're paying that resort parking fee for the car to just sit in the parking lot. So now I'm gonna go on to why should you rent a car, or when should you rent a car, okay? We find that renting a car when you're resort hopping, going to different restaurants at different resorts, going to maybe an early morning character breakfast, we find that having a car is ideal. When we go to Disney, we actually don't do a lot of parks because we've gone so many years and we've been to so many parks that now we're at the point where when we do Disney, we like to resort hop. Especially like at Christmas time, we like to resort hop and see all the Christmas decorations. So utilizing Disney transportation for resort hopping is challenging. You have to get on a bus, go to a different transfer station, go to a different, I mean, it's kind of a mess and it's very, very challenging. If you know that you're staying at a resort and you want to hop to other resorts, or you want to go to different restaurants at other resorts or bars and things like that, I would say renting a car is going to be your best bet. Another thing is having a car, you are able to be more flexible. Remember how I said with the Disney transportation, you have to manage your time expectations, and sometimes it can take a long time. With having your own car, you're not at the mercy of waiting for a bus or possibly missing a bus. You don't have to wait in long lines to try to get on a bus. You can just hop in your car. Now, at the end of this vlog, I'll talk about some of my pro tips and things like that that I have learned, because there are challenges in having a rental car and things like that. But with your own rental car, you're able to be more flexible. You don't have to wait for the bus. You sometimes don't have to stand in that long monorail line. Sometimes the line at the end of the night in the buses to get back to your resorts can be lengthy. So if that bugs you and you want to be able to have that flexibility, I say, heck, rent a car, spend the money. One other example that I wanted to talk about with flexibility is a lot of these resorts on Disney property are so massive that they have multiple bus stops within the resort. For example, Old Key West, and I keep talking about Old Key West because this is a resort Liz and I are actually thinking about trying out next time we go. They have probably 6, 7, 8, I'm not even sure. They have like multiple bus stops within their property. So you can hop on the bus and you're like, yes, I'm ready to go to Magic Kingdom, and then still wait another 15 minutes while they go to every single bus stop to pick up every single person at Old Key West. Again, you gotta manage your time expectations, and if that's really, really gonna bug you, I suggest renting a car. I have heard with Old Key West that sometimes having a rental car is the way to go because of how they are set up. You can park your car right outside your particular building where your room is. And for some people, that's like a win-win. They don't like to wait for multiple stops. They don't like to wait, and then think of it at the end of the night. Okay, it's midnight and you're headed home from Magic Kingdom and you're sitting there and you got screaming kids in the bus. If you're the last person on that bus stop and you gotta wait for every single, it can just get annoying. But if that doesn't bug you and you wanna save the money, then have at it. Perfect solution for you. Another thing that I have found that renting a car is the way to go is if you want to really take advantage of your last day. So you have your last day, you've packed up all your things, maybe you've put your luggage with bell services, things like that. The problem with your last day is, and you're using Magical Express so you can use the Disney transportation to get back to the airport. The problem with Magical Express is you let them know what time your flight takes off. And a lot of times they make you get on Disney's Magical Express like 4 hours ahead of time. And I get it. The Orlando International Airport can be very busy, lots of families, it's like a massive travel destination. So you do want to get there early, but sometimes, especially like if you have like a super early morning flight or even a super late flight, they just make you get there so early that it's just like, and you end up sitting around. With having your own rental car, you can kind of be more flexible and gauge that yourself so you can really get as much Disney time as possible. Maybe you want to go to Disney Springs and grab that souvenir that you weren't able to grab earlier in your trip. With a rental car, you're not at the mercy of Magical Express's schedule. Because keep in mind, remember how I said that all the resorts have multiple stops? Magical Express also has multiple stops as well. So if they're picking you up at Animal Kingdom Lodge, they're probably also going to All-Star. They're probably to pick people up. They're probably also going to Caribbean Beach to pick people up. So they also have multiple stops. You're at the mercy of that. So now I'm gonna talk about my pro tips. So I kind of was thinking this morning when I was coming up with my script, like, okay, what are some things that I have learned? Now, Liz and I are the type of people that we will try to rent a car as much as possible if it fits in our budget. We always try to shop deals for renting a car. If we can't do it, we can't do it, and that's fine. It's not like a game changer, but we will always try to shop deals. We will always try to rent a car because it's something that we enjoy. But again, we have changed the way that we do park touring. We do a lot more resort hopping. We do a lot more going out to eat to different restaurants around property. We go out for drinks a lot more because we like, having a few drinks, as you guys know. So it's a little different for us, but we will shop the deals all year to try to find a really, really good deal on rental cars. So pro tips, my number one tip is with Magic Kingdom. So even if you have a rental car, If you are going to the Magic Kingdom for the day, always take the bus. The reason for this is because with a rental car, the car parking lot is not right outside Magic Kingdom. You have to park your car at the Ticket and Transportation Center. Then you have to take a tram from your parking lot over to where the monorail or the ferry boat is. Then you have to take a monorail or a ferry boat over to Magic Kingdom. That's annoying. I feel like you're taking 500 different modes of transportation just to get to Magic Kingdom. It is absolutely pointless, in my opinion, to bring your rental car to Magic Kingdom. We've done it before. Like, don't get me wrong, we've done it before. But just keep that in mind that the parking lot is just it's not right outside Magic Kingdom, so it's not super easy. Tip number 2, and I actually learned this from my sister because she actually drives to Disney because she lives in South Carolina, so obviously it's really close for her so she can drive to Disney, so I learned this from her. If you have a rental car, drive your car to the park. So let's take Epcot for example. Drive your car to Epcot early morning. You probably get like a super close spot because if you're doing rope drop and stuff like that. Have your fun. If you want to go back for a mid-afternoon nap, which we do often, don't take your car back. Take the bus back to the resort. Do whatever you need to do at the resort. Take the bus back to Epcot. Finish out the night. Then at the end of the night, at 9, 10 o'clock at night, your car is still in like one of the very first rows, or it's very, very close to Epcot. So that's a little pro tip. If you take your car back out to the resort and come back in, a lot of times the parking lot attendants will still make you park like way in the back. Even though there's probably spots open in the front, I have found that they still make you park like way in the back. It's kind of annoying. So that's a pro tip. Pro tip number 3, if you have a car, get groceries. Even if you don't have a kitchen, stop by the grocery store. Grab that bottled water, grab those snacks, things like that. You do have grocery delivery, so if you don't have a car, you can do grocery delivery. But if you have a car, it's not hard. Grab groceries right off property. Very easy. Another tip that we found was so helpful. Rent your car from agencies that offer the skip the counter option. And actually a lot of agencies are starting to offer this, like Budget, Hertz, Alamo. We rented from Alamo. We got a great deal from Alamo back in October. We paid a little bit more than another company that did not offer skip the counter. It wasn't that much more, but it was so worth it. So what ended up happening is we landed at the Orlando International Airport. I had already registered us. I had already put my license in. I'd already printed off what I needed to print off. Everything was all set to go. We went right out to the rental car garage. Alamo was actually hooked up. Their rental car garage was hooked up to the actual airport. So that's kind of another pro tip. You might want to choose an agency that's like right there rather than having to take another bus to an off-site rental garage. But anywho, I digress. We were able to go right to the rental car agency. Like, we showed them our paperwork, like pick whatever car, and then we got in the car, left. It was amazing. When we were bypassing the skip the counter, the line for the rental car check-in was like snaking around so long. Oh my gosh. So this was like a time saver. Like, we would have probably had to stand in that line for a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe half an hour before we even like checked in. So because I had the skip the counter option and I had already registered us, we went straight by. So that was just amazing. We loved it. So that's another tip. Another tip that I found is utilize the Florida Visitor Toll Pass. And I'll post a link down below of where it is. And I actually ended up stumbling upon this because I was trying to do research, because you do have to pay some tolls. Like, when you take your rental car from the airport to Disney, you have to pay a couple tolls. So I was kind of trying to research like how much money should I have, and I kind of stumbled upon this Florida Visitor Toll Pass. It does not cost anything except for the cost of the tolls. You just register your information, you register what company you got your rental car from. The kiosk is actually there right before we left to go get our rental car. They gave us a little like tag thing that you put on the rear view mirror, and we actually didn't have to have any cash. So you link your credit card to it, you can go through the tolls fairly quickly. You don't have to stop to hand the money, and then they just bill your credit card that you put onto your account. You actually save money that way. So if you pay actually at the toll booths, you're paying the full price, whereas if you do the little toll pass where they bill your credit card, I want to say it's about like 80% less. So that's like a big savings. And it was just so much easier because we didn't have to, okay, stop, hand in the money, stop, hand in the money. We were able to just drive right by. So I'll post a link to it down below. It's the Florida Visitor Toll Pass, and it was awesome. So my last tip that I have, and maybe I should have mentioned this before, is if you don't like a lot of walking, I would request a room that is close to the bus stop. These Disney resorts are absolutely massive, and sometimes some of these rooms can be the furthest away from a bus stop. At the end of the night, that can be really draining. It's such a long walk. That was kind of one of the downfalls to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, where we stayed at in October. Beautiful resort, but I felt like our room was like the furthest away from the parking lot and the bus stop. It was just like horrible. We didn't use the buses that often. We used it for Magic Kingdom, but even from the parking lot, it was a long walk. So if that really bugs you and you don't really want a lot of walking, they call it preferred rooms. You might have to do a little bit of an upcharge, and they can't guarantee it, but I would request a room close to the bus stop or even close to the lobby. So that's it. That is my renting a car for your Disney vacation versus utilizing Disney transportation vlog. What did you think? Have you ever rented a car when you are on your Disney trips? Do you prefer to rent the car? Do you prefer to use Disney transportation? Do you have any more tips and tricks for me that I haven't thought of with renting a car or utilizing Disney transportation? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're having a magical weekend. I hope we're all staying safe right now. I'm actually recording this during our quarantine. I'm not exactly sure when it's gonna get posted, but I always like to say that I hope that we are all staying safe. Again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, hit that button down below so you don't miss any of our fun future content. Liz and I have a lot of fun Disney stuff planned. Thank you for joining me. Stay safe, everyone. Don't forget to support each other, and I will see you real soon. Bye.